Okay, so now we're ready to do the lab for the Alleycats bowling final project presentation. The whole thing is coming together with this lab. So if you have not yet looked at these slides or went through this video lesson, or if you haven't been in class to see your teacher present this, make sure you go back and watch it first. If you're watching this video, you're ready to start the lab. So let's review. The Alleycats are asking you to do a test to find out which factor will help them win their bowling tournament. They have an unusual bowling alley. They can change certain features of their environment. For instance, they can change the mass or weight of the ball and the slope of the alley. They want to make sure they win, so they're depending on you to come up with some data to put together in a presentation to tell them what they should do to be the champions. So, this is based off of the Most Mac lesson, The Make, and we are going to model the bowling alley by using a marble ruler ramp. Now, we are taking a look at the effect of mass on kinetic energy and speed on kinetic energy, and how much work we can do on the pins as a result of that kinetic energy. So you will be collecting data in both table form and in graph form, and we'll use a spreadsheet similar to our practice, and then you'll draw some conclusions. And this information from this lab is then going to be transferred into a presentation, which will be a separate video lesson and a separate document. So you have to be very patient in this lab. You're going to be doing a lot of different trials, and we're going to take it step by step. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to identify which objects in the lab correlate to real life. All right, so if you're watching this video and you're doing this document, take a minute, pause the video, and ask yourself which of these objects and how they correlate to if you were at the real Alleycats bowling alley, okay? Now, this is the instructional video lesson that's posted right here. This is a sample picture of how your lab should be set up. So I'm going to stay on this picture for a few minutes and talk to you about it. And it won't look exactly like this for every trial, but basically this is what we're going to do. I want you to notice a few things about this picture. First thing I want you to notice is where the ruler is placed, okay? You need to make sure that your ruler is always placed at the edge of your books, okay? If you were to scooch it back, you're going to change the incline of the ramp, and you don't want to do that. You want the books to be doing that, okay? So make sure that your ruler, which is going to serve as the ramp, is always placed just like this. Okay. Notice how the card is placed. This is actually an improvement from last year. We found that by rolling the marble right into this index card, it pushes it across the table a little bit better. So I know it looks kind of weird, but we're going to set the index card on its side so that the energy from the marble goes directly into the card and pushes it. Okay, here are two marbles. You're only testing two marbles, a heavier one and a lighter one. And then notice the second ruler I have on the table. This second ruler, if you look really carefully, is measuring the distance of the card to the bottom of the ramp. You're going to want to make sure that your card starts in the same position every time. All right, and it helps to mark it on the table or on the floor wherever you're working. And then you can measure how far the card gets pushed from this point. But you need to have a starting point. It's not usually a good idea to have it right at the bottom of the ramp. A little ways out usually helps to collect better data. Okay, so you're going to analyze this picture, and you're going to make a list of materials. Once you have all of your materials listed and you fully understand the lab setup, you're going to show this to your teacher, and then he or she will give you the materials you need to start the lab. Now, you're going to want to review the whole investigation before you actually start the investigation. In fact, your teacher may want you to have this documented before you get the materials. There are actually 3 different variable tests. There's 3 of them. And in each time you're testing a different independent variable, you're going to need to document what the responding variable is and some things that needs to be kept constant in each of the labs. So I'm not going to tell you the answers here in this video. You're going to need to figure that out for yourself. So what variable are you testing? What are you measuring? And what are some things that need to be kept constant? Okay, so if you want, you can pause the video, scroll down into this lab document, and complete this data table. Notice it is worth points. Okay, so let's say you finished everything. Now you are ready to start the lab. The first thing I want you all to decide is what distance your pins will start for all trials. Please keep it the same for every trial. So if you want to start your card at 5 centimeters, document it now. I suggest anywhere between 3 and 5 centimeters. And if you can, get a piece of tape or masking tape and mark it so that you start it at the same place every time. Okay, so in variable test 1, you are going to set up a ramp, keep the height of the ramp the same with 5 books, and you're going to do 5 identical trials with the light marble, and then 5 identical trials with the heavy marble. Now, we have to do multiple trials because we're going to get an average at the end. The average is obtained by adding all trials together and dividing by 5. Okay, so once you have that done, you're going to click on this link and make a copy. And this is our spreadsheet for all 3 variable tests. And you can put your averages in here. And then using the method we looked at before Christmas break, you can highlight this information and use the create or insert chart to create a graph. You're going to end up with 3 different graphs by the end of this lab. So once you have your bar graph, you're going to copy and paste your graph into this box. Okay, variable test 2 is going to change just the height, but using the light marble. Okay, so you're going to test a lot. This is 1 book, 2 books, all the way up to 5 books. And yes, you still have to get an average. So this is several trials total for variable test number 2. This is going to take a little bit of time. Okay, again, you're going to go back to your spreadsheet, put in your 5 averages. In this case, you're going to make a line graph and put your line graph here. And then, just for good measure, we're going to change the height of the books, but now we're going to use the heavy marble. So we have something to compare with trial 2. Okay, your final 5 averages goes here, and your third graph is here. So once you've done the trials, and that's the hard part, that's the time-consuming part, and you have all of your graphs, then you need to sit down with your group and decide, what do the data tables and graphs tell us? You're going to make a conclusion. Now, this is really important because the information in the second part of this lab under make a conclusion is really important information that you're going to use in your presentation. So if you take the time and do a good job here, it won't take you nearly as long to create your presentation. So each of these questions is worth written communication points. And you can see the rubric for grading at the very end. It's quite a bit of agency points, 32 agency points total for your planning and data collection. The data collection and graphing and conclusion are the written communication points. So I just need to adjust this. This is actually agency. Perfect. So it's 32 agency, 16 written communication points. Okay. So this is a lab that's going to have to be submitted by copy and paste. Don't worry about copying and pasting in your data tables that you made in the spreadsheet. You don't have to turn in the spreadsheet because I will see this information in your presentation. So good luck collecting your data. Good luck on your lab. This will take several days for us to complete. And if you need to go back through this video for any helpful hints, don't hesitate to do so. That's what it's there for.